isn't just a feeling for all humans, but most especially for children. It is as essential as food, water, and air. It is the psychological bedrock on which their entire sense of self is constructed. So, what occurs when that bedrock is absent? When a child grows up not feeling cherished, heard, or seen, those effects don't simply vanish when they reach 18. They reverberate across their whole life, shaping snorts their relationships, their professions, and the quiet voice they hear inside their own mind. And it's important to recognize that a shortage of love doesn't always involve dramatic, movie-style mistreatment. Often it is far more understated. It is the emotional disengagement of a parent who was physically around but mentally checked out. It is growing up with affection that is conditional, being commended only for accomplishments, but not for your inherent self. It is the persistent, underlying sense that you have to merit affection, that you are a burden to be handled, pay, not a person to be treasured. This lack of a stable emotional anchor music is a hurt that remains unseen by others, yet profoundly experienced by the child. The first and most significant outcome is that your internal guide for love is essentially broken. Psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theory demonstrates that our early connections with caregivers create a model for every relationship that follows. If that model is founded on unpredictability or rejection, you go through your adult years trying to construct sound relationships on an unsound base. You may unconsciously seek out partners who are also emotionally distant because that dynamic feels accustomed. You don't recognize what secure, unconditional love even resembles, so you cannot identify it or welcome it when it is presented. Second, you absorb the neglect. A child who is unloved concludes, "I am unlovable." This conviction becomes the tone of their inner critic, a persistent commentator that trails them into adulthood. It is the he music voice that informs you each success is accidental and each failure is confirmation of your inadequacy. It is why you might hold a wonderful job, a caring partner, and close friends, yet still feel like an imposter merely waiting to be exposed. Third, you find it hard to manage your emotions. A loving parent functions as a music and external moderator for a child. When a toddler is distressed, the parent calms them, instructing them that intense feelings are bearable and will fade. But a child who has to console themselves never acquires this ability. As an adult, this can show up as explosive rage, overwhelming anxiety, or total shutdown when confronted with pressure. You lack the internal resources to handle the regular highs and lows of existence because nobody ever provided them to you. And ultimately, this frequently results in an intense craving for outside affirmation. If you consider your worth as not innate, you expend your life trying to gain it. This is the classic crowd pleaser. You agree when you wish to decline. You forfeit your own desires to tend to others. You persistently monitor everyone else's moods to verify they are content, hoping their contentment will eventually filter down to you. It is a survival tactic from youth. Act good, stay quiet, be helpful, and perhaps, just perhaps, they will love you. But it is a contest that can never be conquered. So does this amount to a permanent fate? Certainly not. Recovery is not about wiping out the past. It is about supplying yourself with what you never received. It is about transforming into the caring parent you always required. The initial step is to recognize the hurt without passing judgment. You must mourn the childhood you did not experience. And it is acceptable to feel sadness or anger regarding it. Your emotions are legitimate. You were a child who merited love, and it is not your fault that you did not receive it. Second, you must deliberately oppose that inner critic. When it whispers that you are not good music enough, you need to consciously answer with kindness. It feels awkward initially, but it is about retraining your brain. You are truly restoring yourself, offering yourself the affirmation and support you never obtained. And third, acquire the skill of self-soothing. Music, when we feel swamped, rather than descending into chaos, we have to learn to pose to ourselves, what is it that I need at this moment? Maybe it is a stroll, a warm drink, or merely 5 minutes of calm breathing. These small gestures of self carry you, the grown-up for you, the inner youngster. You are instructing yourself in what you were never taught, that your feelings are legitimate and that you can endure them. The consequences of not obtaining the love you merited as a child are genuine, and they are profound, but they are not a permanent sentence. Your past may have composed the opening chapters of your narrative, but you hold the pen for what remains. Healing is the path of mastering how to offer yourself the love that you were perpetually pursuing. And by doing that, you realize that the love you require was eternally inside you, simply waiting to be embraced. If this struck a chord with you, you might find our video on complex PTSD and childhood emotional neglect beneficial. And for an exercise in self-kindness, try our guided meditation for healing the inner child, part of our 10-part series.